Greetings.
I should have brought that mug. I didn't bring that mug. That's my bad.
It's okay. You know what? We'll allow. We've got it there on the background. We can bring it up anytime. See, look at that. Available in Shovel Store.
It's true. They are. Yeah. You can have
He's
a
even
shove in
got
your
candles
butthole.
that smell like buttholes.
I do have one of those right here. It's been used and abused, but smell my
You're,
butthole candle right in the shop.
I've got a Boodalo on my desk,
Yeah, you do. Heck yeah, you do.
and then I've got Violent Seamus hanging out back there, right over my thumb.
Those wrestling figures are still some of my favorite. I mean the ultimate juggalo. It's probably one of the greatest things I've ever painted. I will find another one. I will paint myself one because it's just
The
awesome.
irony of Violent Seamus is now they've released him and his name's not Seamus. So I'm like, what do I call you, sir? But I've set it up with the ghoul having him like at gunpoint while Seamus hangs out on the Joker's hand. It's all about the setup.
Yeah. I too thoroughly enjoy a well thought out display. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do have like the art is Scott Blair. You guarantee you've never heard of him, but I really liked. He did a lot of pinup art and comic art, and he passed away a couple of years ago from cancer. And I grabbed that one off of his website when his family was listing stuff because the wrestler that it's of, I'm also a huge fan of, and she committed suicide a couple of years ago. So I was like, all right.
That's just a picture of tragedy right there.
But not to me. It's two people that brought me a lot of joy in life. So, you know.
That's a good way to look at it. That really is a good way. And that's, you know what? Before we talk about me, let's talk about the one and only, the notorious Aaron Bird here.
Well,
probably one of the sweetest, nicest guys ever. And
except on Mondays.
I don't think enough people really give you your flowers for that because, you know, I try really hard to be a positive, uplifting guy, and there's a lot of times where I fail miserably. And I'm not saying you're perfect by any means. I know you have your own struggles as well, but 9 times out of 10, you're beating me in the positivity category, and I've got to give you props for that. You destroy me.
It's really a I have had the lowest of tragic lows personally, mentally. So I just have to, it's like let's bring the fun, let's bring the levity into the room because life's too short to take it all too serious.
It's very true.
Been there.
Yeah.
So, Shovel.
Yes, sir.
I know very little about your story. We really became friends over the last year. I've noticed that in my Facebook memories recently. And so, take me back before we became Shovel, even? Because apparently you had a venue.
Yeah. I was going to say, how far back do you want to go? Because I am.
Well, you don't have to go full Steve Martin. You know, I was born a small black child.
Yeah, right. I found my rhythm.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I did. Actually, that's where Shovel started. Honestly, so it's not a bad place to start.
Well, was there any art background as a child, even?
As a kid, I did really enjoy drawing and coloring. And I don't mean to say that like in a reductive way. All kids enjoy coloring, but I really enjoyed applying color to paper and drawing with color, creating with color. But you know, I never got like super serious with it when I was in high school and started taking some more serious like directed art courses, I I had a lot of really good artists in my like age group. So I was surrounded by a lot of talent, and the only way I could stand out because was by being more irreverent with my art, more provocative, more um oddball, more weird. Um
Hey, look, as a huge Salvador Dali fan, it works.
yeah. So yeah, I was, and not to say that I was looking to be aggressively provocative. I didn't want to make people angry. But I wanted to make art that did make people um maybe a little uncomfortable, not necessarily hateful, but uncomfortable enough to make you stop and actually think of, you know, I'm looking at this thing, why is it making me feel? Because I feel like that's what art is meant to do. If it's so boring that you just go, that's pretty good,
Yeah,
and walk on, that's motel art. I don't know. And
yeah.
that's not to say that like pictures of flowers and um you know portraits of fruit in a bowl can't be provocative, because they very much can be, and they have been.
The
um
the
but
irony being,
also boring.
I was at a, I want to say that it was the Hilton in downtown Atlanta.
Mm.
In their parking garage, right by the elevator, the art was a Picasso.
What?
I was like, what the hell?
In
Me and
the
my brother both
garage?
were like, what? Yes, in the parking garage.
Oh, holy
By the
crap,
elevator in the parking garage. I was like, what is this?
dude, that's insane. um but so to really give you the my art story is it is kind of sad, but it turns out really well. So in high school, I had an art teacher that did not appreciate my style. She didn't like that I was like, I kind of like I do now. Some of my art would be like about religious figures. Like one time I did a pencil drawing of a Catholic priest, and he had, you know, a devil on one shoulder and a devil on the other shoulder. And you know, it's uh there is no human that is infallible. There is no, I don't care how high up in what church you're in, you're still not a perfect specimen,
No,
and you're still tempted by whatever demons are in your
pretty
um
certain that even the Bible says we all fall short. So
oh
you
yeah,
know,
100%,
hey,
100%. But you know, it was perceived as an affront to the church, and my teacher happened to be Catholic, and she also was she was like a cheerleader in high school, and she was a young teacher, so she had more of that like bubblegum, I don't know, puppy dogs and flowers, like
so
kind of a
what year would this have been?
1997, 1998.
Okay.
So if you think about the time,
So she
I
wanted you to give us some like Hanson shit.
yeah
Okay.
yeah. Um, and you know,
And
my
you wanted to give
friends,
some Manson shit. You
right?
just needed to
Yeah.
swap out the first letter.
That's where a lot of my friends and I were coming from. Like our generation is a generation of rebellion, of making, because our parents weren't really part of our lives. We parented ourselves, we took care of ourselves, and if we needed something, we just took care of it. And so same thing in the art. Like, she did not like instructing me, she didn't like talking to me, so I just started doing my own thing, which pissed her off even more. And at one point, she was flunking me out of the class. It was during it was a like clay sculpture semester that I was with her, and I had been working really hard on I had made a pot that was, it was actually, it was one of the greatest things I ever made. And I was really into aliens at the time, and another friend of mine was as well. So we were just doing a lot of um, a lot of pieces that kind of centered around, aliens and shows like the X Files and movies like Communion. Um, they just fascinated us. So I was making this pot that the head of the pot was a gray skin alien, and and she kept telling me that it was too thick and it was going to explode in the kiln, and so I had to thin it. So Aaron, I am not kidding when I tell you I was thinning that thing out for a solid month of carving clay away, using Brillo pads to try to remove as much clay as I could. And I knew it was getting like to the point of microscopic thin. Like it was ridiculous that I hadn't put my finger through it yet. And she just she refused to fire it. Um and kept saying that it had to be thinner, thinner, thinner. And so I just stayed at it, kept trying because whatever. And then one day I was just getting frustrated, and I was basically polishing it at this point because it was so thin. And I had sat it down on our workbench, and I was just gonna walk away just to, you know, feel less stupid. And it had gotten so thin that the head was now heavier than the body. So the head toppled it over and it
Oh,
shattered into a million pieces. And my soul left my body in that moment. And I was so pissed off at her. It was my crowning achievement. And it was gone. Like there was no fixing it. There were so many pieces. And so, I told her, hey, my pot broke, and I showed her like one of the bigger pieces. I was like, this is how thick the walls were. And she was like, oh, well, huh. Yeah, I guess we probably should have fired it then. And I'm like, you think so? I just spent 3 months on this thing. And now, because I can't turn anything in, now you're going to flunk me. So awesome. And so at that point, things got a little heated. And she actually told me that I should just quit, that I will never make it as an artist. I am not an artist. And that I should just find something else to do. And I was like, okay, I guess that's it then. And so
so
in
have you seen her
98,
since?
I put it all away. I put brushes away. I gave away a bunch of my tools, and I was just like, whatever, I'm done. I've got other things. I was working on TV production at that time. I was doing competitive acting, and I was also an athlete. So I had plenty of other things to do, and art wasn't like my focus. I just enjoyed it. So when she said that's just not for me, I was just like, okay, fine. Um, and then like 25 years later, here we are. Now I'm a professional artist, and I'm making more money than she does ever selling her art. Um, so
Have you
yeah,
gotten a chance to see her yet?
no, there were times when I would run into her. The weird thing, my childhood home, the first house that I remember living in, she and her husband actually bought that house, and they were living in the house that the first couple of years of my memory were in. Which is just another layer of weird to our story. But I would like run into her, like, I would go back into town to hang out with friends, or my parents still live there. And go to the store or whatever, and it's like, oh, there she is.
There's
And
that.
she
Yeah.
would she would just avoid me. Like she did not, she hated me. Pretty sure she still hates me. Um which is fine. Whatever. I don't need her. Got plenty of other people I can hang out with.
Yeah,
But I don't know, something about that beyond like giving up on art for so long. I I don't think I'd ever really experienced an adult that was in a position of like uh mentoring role, like somebody that is supposed to be there for me to look up to, was such a just cruel, just vindictive bastard to me. So that definitely changed a lot of me.
I've had similar instances of watching teenagers be told not to go after their dreams, and I can't be that guy that sits there quietly when that's said.
Yeah. So I've since then I've actually worked in a lot of positions where I have also been in a mentor role for teenagers. And I when I've run across a teenager that is passionate about something that they are lousy at, um I will I'll try my best to bring people into their lives that can maybe um teach them up a little bit better, like because I've got through the years I've built up a pretty good network of pretty cool people in a lot of different careers. And so I would try to make little connections and be like, can you just give a little insight to this for this kid, like what's something that they should focus on now to make them better later and maybe get them to your like level. And 9 times out of 10 it would be incredible great wisdom. And we would have that conversation with the kid and move on, and then like 2 weeks later they would still just be like failing, and so then I would have to be like, okay, I love you, buddy, I love you a whole lot. I think this needs to be something that you do as a hobby. Maybe you're not going to be a rapper at the level of Eminem. Like, maybe set your standard a little lower, because
Well,
not
that
everybody's going to hit
actually
that level.
the kid that I was talking about was wanting to pursue rap,
Hmm.
and
Oh, they all do.
he was like 13, 14. And
Yeah,
I said, maybe you should look more at like producing music.
yeah,
Like maybe because, and he's like, well, what do you mean? I said, be the person who makes the beats. You make the money without the headache.
yeah. Well, that's a good point. Because I would sometimes take that tact as well, and be like, hey, um, you lyrically, you're writing some really good stuff. You're writing some really good stuff. It's just not coming out like your cadence isn't exactly correct. You're not you don't have the rhythm.
You're
Um
reminding me of Cheddar Bob right about now.
but writing is another avenue. You Even Eminem has ghostwriters, everybody does. And even if somebody, I hate to keep using Eminem, but everybody knows who he is. Even if Eminem has a song written and he goes into the studio to record it, he could get into the chorus or whatever, and it just isn't flowing right. Well, there's somebody else in the room, like the producer or a technician or whatever, or even just
Sometimes
a
even
friend
just a
of his.
friend.
It's just like, yeah, just hey,
Yeah.
maybe switch this word with that. Maybe find a synonym. you
Mm.
know, and small little influences like that can change things in huge ways. And could you imagine if you could be like, yeah, I'm the guy that told Eminem to say hamburger instead of hot dog, and it was a number one hit.
Well, yeah, there are little moments like I've got a friend who's a DJ, and he's the official Power Rangers DJ.
Okay. All
Well,
right.
he does conventions mostly, and the way that he met his first Power Ranger was a convention that I had gotten the Power Ranger booked on. And me and the DJ are still friends. Jason David Frank, who passed away a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And his first movie is coming out in August. So me and Trey have been popping into each other's streams occasionally just to reminisce.
Yeah.
And it's kind of neat for me, like, to know how much Jason meant to him. That if I hadn't pushed so hard, because they didn't want to book him, I was like, guys, we'll bring, because he only wanted like $1,200. I'm like, he will make it. I promise.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he did a little like Jason David Frank martial arts thing. They made their money back on that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you were to name one Power Ranger that everybody knew and everybody like specifically wanted to see, he was the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he would that the first time I met him, he was signing at Lexington Comic-Con. And he stayed till everybody had their signature and then did a meet and greet dinner. And I went to the dinner with him and the second Pink Ranger, Catherine Sutherland. And that was how I got his contact information to get him booked for the show. Because that was my thing when I went to shows. I would always look and see what celebrities had a line. Duh.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see Virgil sitting there asleep at his table, not to book him.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. That's actually another area that I work in is conventions.
Well, you had mentioned television.
Uh-huh.
So we have a little bit of a connection there too.
Yeah, you were in the booth, weren't you?
I have a degree.
Oh, okay.
I have a broadcasting, film, and TV degree, and that's what I always loved working was the booth.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no studio wants to hire you full time, I found out the hard way. And I'm not moving to another state for 22 hours a week.
Yeah. It's a rough market. Well, and it's a dying market too, to be fair. Yeah. So yeah, the way TV entered my life, as a kid, and by kid, I like teenager, Weird Al Yankovic was obviously a big thing. And he was a big influence, in the fact that because I was a huge nerd. Like I really didn't have too many friends. I had a friend. Well, I still have a friend. I shouldn't put it past tense. We're still friends. I have a close friend named Staley. We were in gifted class together, which should tell you a lot. The nerd runs deep.
Well, now wait, there are two different types of gifted classes. At least there were in southeastern Kentucky.
Okay.
There was gifted intelligent, and then there was gifted lacking intelligence.
Oh no, yeah. I was technically I was in gifted and talented is what the name was. Gifted and talented.
Okay, you weren't gifted in special needs.
Yeah, in my experience, the school system I was in, it was either gifted and talented or special ed. I was not in special ed. But yeah, so I think it was fourth grade that I started doing the gifted and talented stuff, which was cool because it really really pushed creativity. The teacher we had was really good about that, of like free thinking and creative thinking, and she would like give us like problems, and she'd be like, okay, I want to go around the room and I want everybody to list a solution to this problem. We'll just keep going around until we run out.
That is so much better of a program than we had where I was.
Yeah. So, and it would be fun stuff where she would be like, you're mailing a letter and the envelope doesn't have any sticky stuff on it. What do you do? And, so we're kids and we'd be like, boogers and stuff like that. And she would never like crap on an idea. She would just be like, yeah, those are sticky, and just let us go. which was great because you never felt like anything was stupid. And same with Weird Al. Like he even has a song, "Dare to Be Stupid," and
It
we
was
lived
used on
by
the
that, man.
1986 Transformers animated movie. The first film I bought on DVD.
I've got that on DVD.
That's I literally the Hollywood Video where I grew up had to replace their copy twice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So I was in that class and I literally didn't have any friends. Like I would just go to school. I like and I wasn't like antisocial. Like I would talk with people at school, but then I would just go home and I would just go to my room and I'd read sci-fi novels and listen to Soundgarden and stuff just on headphones, just by myself. So I read a ton, which, helped with language skills
yeah.
that has still served me
You learn
to
the new
this day.
words that way.
Right. Yeah. Um, so one day, my gifted teacher was like, feeling bad that I wasn't like having any friends. And there was another guy named Staley that was the same way. And she was like, why don't you hang out after school? And like, it was the weirdest thing. Like, it was like matchmaking for nerds. And she was like, why don't John wanted, or well, Shovel.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you go to Staley's house? And I was like, okay, whatever. So go to his house and we just did nerd stuff. And he was into movies. I was into movies. He was into the technical side of movies, and I was into the acting, action, like theatrical side of movies. And so we kind of started like venturing down this path of filmmaking, and we started like writing screenplays and doing, because back then we didn't have cell phones with cameras. We had camcorders. We had VHS cameras that mounted to your shoulder,
Yeah.
and we would just borrow from school one of those camcorders, and we would just shoot crazy short films, and we were doing animated stuff and just all kinds of, the sky was the limit. We were just doing all kinds of different things. And then Staley one day was like, they have public access, and we can do that. I checked, like there's hardly any rules. It just has to be like something in the program has to be about the community. And I was like, okay, like Weird Al did that too. Let's go. So we started doing a public access show, but to hit that community aspect, we were making it about our high school. Like fast forward a few years, I guess I should have said that. And so we would do like an episode that would be about like the basketball team or whatever. And because we weren't like huge into basketball ourselves, we would get like interviews or whatever, but then we would make like these weird avant-garde music videos of music that we liked.
The Soundgarden?
Yeah, well, I'm all kinds of different. We were listening to all kinds of stuff. Staley's dad, his parents were divorced. I don't know if you remember this, but back in the day, new music came out on Tuesdays. It was always Tuesdays. Staley's dad every Tuesday would get every new release, every single, every album, everything. And his basement was just wall to wall, just CDs and tapes. And he had all kinds of different, like, it was first time experiencing a CD. It blew my mind. And Staley had a CD player way before anybody else. It was like, we were so cutting edge, man. So
I
we were
still
making,
remember buying my first CD.
my first tape for me, my first tape that I bought with my money was Nirvana Unplugged. So good.
First CD I bought was MC Hammer. Please don't hurt him.
There you go.
Yeah.
First CD I actually bought a couple of singles. I bought Aerosmith's Living on the Edge. I don't know why. It had some weird B-sides that were really cool. So I would listen to those on a repeat. And then Cranberries, what is it, Dreams or Dreamin'? That single as well. And it was the same reason. It had two B-sides that were incredible.
When Mrs. Bird watches this back, she'll know, because she's the one that's going to know a Cranberries album more than me.
Yeah. Cranberries were so good.
I remember my first cassette tape that I was like, I have to have this, was a Power Rangers cassette tape. So let that date me.
Yeah. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't until I had my own money. So it was like I was a senior, I think, when I started buying my own music. But before then, I didn't need to, because Staley's dad had everything and he always had blank tapes. So I was making mixtapes down there. And so Staley and I were finding all kinds of crazy stuff that we're putting on mixtapes. And that's what we were using. Like, the weirder, the better. We were making music videos with some, I wish I could remember. I wish we had the tapes too. The craziest thing, true story, I graduate high school. There is a cabinet full of old videos, VHS, of outtakes and episodes, and even just raw footage that I had shot, or the people working with me had shot, the other students. Every single tape was stolen. So my entire portfolio that I realized later that I actually needed for, getting into TV. Yeah. Was all gone. And I would hear stories for years where somebody would say, "Oh, I was at a party and we were watching a video that you did. It was crazy." Like, where is it? I need that.
We need this video
back. So yeah, just hundreds of hours of footage. Just
the mixtapes reminds me of me and my best friend when we were in college. My dad would give him a list of bands and albums, and he would check them out from the library.
Yeah,
bring them back home, and copy them to the computer, make himself some mix CDs.
Yeah, so it's crazy that even now you can still go to public libraries and just get free movies and music.
Support your local library.
Yeah, 100%. If you don't have a library card, you are stupid.
Well, you get a library card, you can download Hoopla.
Yeah, for free.
Yeah. And you can stream movies and audiobooks for free.
Yeah, all day long for free. It's crazy. Yeah, shout out the public library system.
Thanks. I've got 2 movies in the car that I should have took back 2 weeks ago.
That is the downside. Yeah.
Dude, I don't live 5 minutes from it. I just get sidetracked as soon as I get in the car, and it's like, oh yeah.
See, that's the upside of living in the ghetto. I live in a very impoverished area of Kansas City. The library just waives all fees because they know everybody's broke.
Well, they do here too.
Oh, do you?
Okay. I go to they have a Friends of the Library book sale, and I'll go load up on movies and I'll be like,
we have that too.
The total will be like 10, and I'll just be like, here's 20. We're good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Man, you and me, Aaron, we're peas in a pod, my friend.
It's weird how similar the trails have gone there.
Yeah. So back to the TV thing. So Staley and I ended up inadvertently creating a whole production program at our high school that is now an accredited class. You can actually get college credit towards video production. It has its own building. It has state-of-the-art equipment. We were actually editing digitally before most other people were. Now, I will say rendering literally took a day Like you would just let the computer run, and if something failed, like a power glitch or whatever, it's just gone. You would have to start over. It was so archaic, but not anymore. And it that's one of my like points of pride of my life, my legacy. Uh, the fact that that studio exists and the high school I graduated with has since produced a lot of people that work in the industry because of the program that my buddy and I started in his mom's basement. Like it's crazy how the world works. But then so yeah, so then I wanted my goal in life when I was, 18, 19, 20 years old was to take over for David Letterman when he retired. That was my 100% goal. And I knew the path he took. I knew the path that it would take for me to get there. So I knew he went to video production. He went to meteorology school. He worked in radio. He did a lot of things where I was like, I'm going to do that too. And I'm going to get there. So I worked in radio for 5 years. Um, I was gonna I was gonna go not too far from where I grew up and where I live now is KU, Kansas University, and they actually have a really good film program there. I was gonna go to college there, but got sidetracked with a comedy career, which led me to
See,
Chicago.
I got
Which
my degree from Eastern Kentucky University.
yeah,
I was supposed to go to Western, which is really good broadcasting school. And my dad had a stroke, and that was in May. I was supposed to start in August,
mm,
and I just didn't bother even telling anybody. I was like, "What's the point?" Because I
yeah.
wasn't I wasn't going to put him in a nursing home and move across the state when I can go to the community college, take care of him. No, so
See, and I kind of did the same thing where I was like, man, it's really expensive and half of the load is basics. Why would I want to pay so much to do some of the basics? I could just go to community college, knock that crap out, get those credits, and then focus in and move over to KU. So I thought I was going to do that, and that never happened. I dropped out of college like 3 times. So
well, have you ever heard Kevin Smith talk about his filmmaking, his choices? He was like, I dropped out of film school after the second week and
yeah, yeah,
just decided to max out the credit cards and made Clerks.
yeah. Well, and I mean, even Tarantino was well. I guess I should say filmmakers. It's another world. I would love to be in filmmaking, but at that time the goal was to be in TV, local TV news, work the news. Um,
Shovel
so
at
yeah,
six.
do what?
Shovel at six.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, you could start doing the news while you're painting.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. That's part of like why I live stream. Because I really enjoy broadcasting, and this the way the world has expanded and the opportunities and the technology and yada yada yada. The fact that I can just push a couple of buttons and I am basically doing the thing that I dreamed of as a kid blows my mind. The fact that I can build a full studio in my basement can, by just it takes time and effort finding the the best equipment I can for the budget that I'm in. Shout out Facebook Marketplace. There's a lot of other people that try to get into broadcasting, especially like during COVID. And so check your local Facebook Marketplace if you want to start podcasting or broadcasting. There is so much good loot for way cheaper than it is at the store. Go that way, buy it used. That's what
Well,
I did.
between my lights, my camera, and my mic, I'm at a whole $100 of expense.
All right, I'm a little deeper into it than that.
Well, I mean, you've obviously had more income off of it too.
Yeah. I that's a thing with Precious Juggalos though. Like I had I never intended this to be a thing. Like I never thought that something so i- stupid, something so silly, um, would resonate so well with people. So when I posted the first couple of things I did, I I did not expect much of a reaction, like most everything else I ever posted of stuff I've, did in my life, other than pictures of my kids, obviously. But
The kids who made
or
their
pets.
the first time that I ever heard of one of them appearing in your stream, uh, popping up on somebody else's Facebook.
Oh yeah,
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 I was like, "What? Shovel's children are online?" No.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so it's just it's so it's a weird world, and I think alongside of that teacher crushing my spirit as a kid, that taught me a lot of things about just gumption. And even though I gave up in that moment, there was still a fire in me somewhere. I just had devoted it other directions, and I still devote it those other directions now. I'm still broadcasting. I'm still using some of my radio talents. I'm still doing film production. I'm just painting also. Um, and it's just back to what we were saying with mentoring the youth, like not wanting to tell them to give up on themselves. Um, you never want to say that. You never want to tell a kid or an adult or anybody that looks up to you. You should never, ever, ever allow the words to come out of your mouth of you should just give up. That's a stupid thing to say. The better way to say things is you should focus on this. You should redirect. If you're seeing that they're fully devoting themselves to something that's just going to fail and it is going to eventually lead to their downfall, intervene, but don't say quit. Don't say give up. You need to say, you know what? I love your drive and I love your passion. I think that I see this thing in what you're doing. There's this aspect that you are just incredible with. Maybe you should look at that a little bit more. There's probably more you could do with that. Try that. And it works. Instead of making them go, yeah, they're right, I suck. Instead, it still leaves them with hope. And that's the best you can do for anyone in any situation is walk away, leaving them with hope instead of just, I
Yeah,
suck.
there's no point in shitting on somebody's dreams. I've
No,
never.
ever.
No, unless you have really warped dreams, then yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Or
so
like I said, unless they are trying really, really hard to be, the best, I don't know, uh, the best toilet installer in the world. And you go, you know what? That's noble, but I noticed that your toilets, they seem to be a little shaky. You're not great with the hardware, but I saw the way you worked with that copper. Oh, my friend.
watch out with the copper praise.
But you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's always, it's like saying there's a silver lining to everything.
So
It's the same in life. Like even if you are surrounded with failure, there is probably a nugget in there somewhere.
I put it like everybody has a role.
Yeah.
Everybody has a place to play, something a part. You're not always going to be the top guy. You're not always going to be the main person, but that doesn't make your role any less important.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that later on, when something else comes around, that you won't be the
That's
more
what I was going
important
to say.
person.
It can swing. Like
Mhm.
I maybe I'm in a really cool spot right now. Tomorrow I might not be, you know. Precious Juggalos can flop at any time and I'll move on.
But
I'll just do the next thing.
and I
Um
guarantee that it's not your that's not your life income.
right, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
that's
Yeah, that's another thing, kids. I have a day job. I have a wife and I have 3 daughters. I cannot afford to not have insurance and a steady income. I'm doing all this fun stuff on the side. If
yeah,
this ever gets to the point where it can fund everything and it is responsible to make this my primary, I will. But until that point, I will not. It will never be primary. It will be secondary.
yeah, and that's the other thing that I think a lot of people don't realize until it's too late, the importance of a job with good insurance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing where, you know, well, shoot, even finding a kitten on the side of the road, life can introduce some really crazy experiences that are very much fulfilling and amazing, but expensive.
You could
Or
pick up a $25 cat at PetSense and it eat too much fish, and the vet tell you that you need to have it put down or a $600 surgery,
oh,
and you take it home to try and take care of it, and your wife massage its stomach till it finally passes the fish and it's fine.
oh my word.
That's Aussie. That was the Aussie story.
Wow. Did you
He
hear the story of Spade today?
What did he do today?
Oh my God. So we went to the vet today for a follow-up on his last appointment. And the last appointment, I should say, he feline herpes. So they put him on amoxicillin and tetracycline for his eyes. He had a bunch of infections.
Yeah,
So anyway, so it's just a
Pepper.
follow-up.
Pepper has it too.
Yeah,
Hers
yeah,
flares up
very
occasionally.
common. It's very
Yeah.
common. But so that cleared it all up, and Spade is doing a lot better. But then the vet said, "Oh, I noticed Spade has an overbite." And I was like, "Okay, what does that mean?" And she was like, "Well, you know, he still has his baby teeth, but as he gets his full-grown teeth in, we're going to have to watch and see cuz his lower canines can end up piercing his gums and that will be problematic." And I was like, "Oh my God, okay. What do we need to do?" And I kid you not, Aaron, I kid you not, the words came out of my vet's mouth. "Well, you know, I know they've been starting doing braces for dogs. I don't know if I've heard about it for cats yet." And I was like, "Whoa, whoa. I
I'm
have
sorry.
children that we've struggled to put in braces.
No.
I'm currently paying for 2 of them. I can't add a cat to that. That's not okay." And she was like, "Well, I typically just remove the lower canines. It's an indoor cat." And I was like, "Oh, okay." say less. That's lead with
Yeah.
that.
And you
Cat
know what
braces.
that's a matter of a vet saying, "Well, I wonder if we could get this guy to buy
Right.
braces for this cat."
Yeah. You think we could sell this dummy on this idea? I bet you $5 he will bite. No, I will not. I've already spent more money on this kitten than I have on any other pet in my life. Like
Ozzy's
I
only got like 4 teeth at this point. He really does. He had to have a bunch of his pulled. And
wow.
he's Ozzy is our tuxie. Welcome to the family.
Yeah. I mean, I've so my mom grew up on a farm. My dad grew up super poor, so he never had any pets. But because my mom grew up on a farm and I've grown up around farms, you know, we love animals. Let me be clear on that. Don't like misunderstand that. But in our world, pets are still just, I don't want to say wild animals, but you know, they they have the capacity to care for themselves, you know, as nature intended. God made them so that they can survive, and they have for since the beginning of Earth. So why should we intervene so hard for cats and dogs? Like they've got the skill set and ability. The thing we've done is we've weakened them.
But they're so
the
cute
way
and
that we
cuddly.
treat them.
Look, they're cheaper than children.
Well, yeah, it's true. But point being that I grew up with the mindset of, oh, you don't take your pets to the vet unless they're dying. And then, you put them down or whatever. And shoot, Aaron, I even grew up where you didn't necessarily take your pet to the vet to put them down.
Yeah.
22 is,
That's
and I hate
my
to
parents
say that.
always. I was never there for it. They made sure that I was gone. But
yeah
there were a few along the way that had to.
Yeah, I mean that the cost of that is pennies on the dollar. Yeah.
So
that got a little dark.
Yeah,
I've changed.
Let's run back from Shovel the animal killer.
Yeah, right. My bad.
So you got radio.
Yeah.
How did we get into radio?
So, this is part of my story that I've never really talked about with anybody else. Because usually I'm interviewed by like Juggalo podcasts or whatever, so it's very Juggalo centric. So fun fact, I actually went to Bible college. I actually studied the Bible, and very, very familiar with the Bible. So when people make comments on some of my artwork that is irreverent, saying things like, I'm disrespecting God or whatever, and I'm going to hell. That's my favorite, when they say I'm going to hell in my comments. I can usually I'm not like quoting scripture, but I try to drop some pretty subtle hints that I know how things work in that world pretty good. And I don't think you do. Anyway, so I went to a Bible college that actually had a radio station as well, down in Joplin, Missouri. And
so was it Shovel Scriptures at 6 there? Is that how
no. Actually at the radio station, I had to apprentice under another DJ for a while before I got my own show. I think it was Thursday nights, 6 to midnight, I think is what it was every week. And the first time, so I had to be in the studio with my mentor for a while and just observe. And then the first night he was like, "Hey, you want to grab that other mic and hop on the air with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, man. I'm ready. I know what to do." He was like, "Okay, what's your name?" And I was like, and again, breaking the fourth wall here, John. And he said, "No, what's your radio name?" And I said, "I don't know, just John." And he was like,
"No.
You want your name to be John?" And I was like, how about just John? He was like, "Huh, yeah, let's do that." So that was my radio name, Just John.
Just John.
Yeah.
Double J.
Yeah. Yeah. And the first time I was at Walmart and somebody in line with me said, "Hey, I recognize you somehow." And I was like, "Oh yeah?"
You're like, "No, you don't."
Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah, so it was cool. I mean, I wasn't playing the music that I wanted to play. It was a Christian radio station, and it was a very yeah, there was DC talk. Yeah. It was very CCM. It was very industry Christian music. So it was like Avalon. I can't remember. It was music that my mom loved and I did not. So I would usually just keep the volume down in the studio, and I would just know when I would need to talk, and I would just, speak in and speak out. And it was cool. Like I never, I have a fairly decent voice naturally. And on air, I would add a little timbre to it. I would make it a little bit more, you know. But I would never be like the guy that I mentored under was the type of guy that was like, when the light went on and the mics were hot, he was the guy that was like, "Hey, it's me." And I was like, "Oh, I am not that guy. I'm not that guy. I'm just John." So I would speak way more naturally, and I was a pretty even keeled dude. Still, I try to be, you know, I guess.
I've seen you. I watch Precious Juggalos.
Yeah. So, and so that has kind of informed itself later on to now, where that style of broadcasting is still something I try to maintain, where I don't want to be monotone, you know, I don't want to be boring.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be all wacky jacky all over the place. I try to be somewhere in the middle, like in the Bob Ross world of not necessarily monotone, but just light, easy, you know, just something very accessible like Mr. Rogers, where it's just talking a little bit slower, you know, not speaking too fast and trying to enunciate, and just keeping things in that realm. You have watched, and it doesn't always stay there.
No.
The chat does get me worked up from time and again.
Well, what's really fun for me is when I pop into the chat and the missus is watching the show and she's like, "Stop. It's supposed to be PG-13. Stop."
Yeah, we do try to keep it family friendly.
Well, I toe the line.
Yeah.
You know,
I appreciate that because it is, you know, we are in the Juggalo world, so it can't be too polished and too clean and too lame. So it does need to exist in a place where it is edgy without being inaccessible for everybody.
And I feel like you do a great job of being on that outlier of the gritty Juggalo community side of things. We both occasionally pop into Swill's Edition. We know how it can get.
Yeah. I like to think that I'm like a good ambassador for the culture, because I do fully, like, initially I was just Juggalo adjacent when I first started doing this stuff. You know, aware of ICP, but not really like crazy fandom of ICP. But since then I have fallen madly in love with the culture. I do call myself a Juggalo now. I shouldn't say I call myself a Juggalo now. I am a Juggalo. And I'm proud to be part of this. Obviously there are bad actors and there are bad examples of Juggalos, but there are so many others that are just that are part of the world with such a pure heart, that are just wanting to be kind. And even a guy like Swill that is abrasive and does have, by the way, it's a persona. He has an online character. Yeah. It's like wrestling. It's weird.
I get it completely, because it reminds me so much. Like, if I had streaming in 2008,
yeah,
when I was watching Ring of Honor and on those message boards, I'd still be fucking canceled. Like,
yeah,
because of the things I said back then. I know that it's a good thing that I wasn't online as much.
So there are people that fulfill the role of heel, but it's not because they're trying to subvert or really ruin anything. It's sometimes you have to play the heel to reveal the villain. That happens in wrestling every day, every night, every Every organization,
Well,
sometimes the heel is there to reveal the villain.
as ICP said, we're not sorry if we tricked you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, and I think so. Swill and I are actually really good friends. And it's ironic that we would be, because I'm trying to toe this line of, uh, wholesome, good guy, that Bob Ross and, Mr. Rogers and the Steve Irwin, and Swill is more like Andrew Dice Clay, um, more of a character that just uh, reveals some of the negativity that people harbor. And
Well,
sometimes that's a great thing.
not just
Sometimes people
reveals.
take it too far.
I think Swill also kind of revels in it. He enjoys it.
He does, yeah,
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 100%.
yeah, and that's okay too,
Yeah,
because I
enjoy
enjoy it
his
too.
I
I
enjoy his
honestly,
show
I enjoy it a
time
lot
to time.
myself. Being a guy that did work in the comedy world for a while as well. Um, a good dose of sarcasm and a good ribbing is just something that to me is part of a healthy relationship. Like, if I'm not putting you down, then and we're meant to be close friends, then you probably need to ask, like, are we okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I and that is one thing that I have enjoyed. I call myself a Juggalo advocate, and I have for years. I did. My brother introduced me to ICP years ago, and of course, I grew up with him on wrestling.
Yeah.
So I was a fan of their music when I grew up, and then I guess after the calm, I just kind of quit listening to it. I was in college, and they got tossed to the side, and somehow my wife found your stream one day, and here we are now. I
Oh,
now have a pair of ICP pants of the Wraith.
I love your wife too, man. You
I love her
really,
too.
you really got lucky, dude. You really did.
I'm pretty fond of her.
Yeah.
She's a sweetheart. She's actually the nicer one of the two of us.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh,
really fun thing.
I know. I know. She and I have had a lot of conversations where um, she'll get offended on other people's behalf because she has such a heart, and such a depth of care, that if she feels like someone is slighting someone that she cares about, she mama bears like crazy.
Yeah.
And that's that's such a beautiful thing. Like,
Well,
um,
it I love it about her. It's so cute to me when
yeah,
she gets riled up, especially when she gets riled up at people taking digs at me. I'm the younger brother, so you can imagine the hell I've been through in life.
right, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so I can take a lot of shit. When she gets worked up, I'm like, it's okay. Like, I'm
yeah,
fine. It's
yeah.
they don't bother me. But I'll never forget. And she'll probably watch this. She may hear the story now and yell up here. Um, One of the first times I was like, oh my god, she is the kindest person in the world. The home that I grew up in, we had some of those pillars on the front porch, and you know how you're supposed to have the little guards in the corner, so the birds always tore the corner guards out. And she heard this sound in the bottom of it, and she goes, "What is that?" And I said, "It's a bird that's fell down in there." Well, what do you do? I said, "It dies."
Yeah, let nature take its course.
She starts crying, and she's like, "Let's cut open this pillar and get this." And I said, "Do you know how many bird bones are going to come falling out of it?" She didn't find it that funny. She was like, "We got to save the bird." Yeah, and she's the one that has the chest tattoo and
Right,
like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, all the goth stuff, but she's the one that's like, "Aww." So, back to the shovel story. Sorry.
Sure. No.
Radio.
Mhm.
How long did that last? Or was
5
it just
years. So
was that
I started doing radio my freshman year of college. And then I left that college freshman year to come back up to Kansas City because like I talked about, I was going to go to community college here before transferring to KU. So that was the plan. But then my buddy was like, "Hey, we should go to Chicago and work at Second City and be huge." And I knew that was another route to David Letterman because it was. So Second City, if you're not familiar, is basically the mecca for improv comedy. Basically, you could name any comedian that has been well known in the scene for the last 50, 60 years, and they probably went through Second City because they have such a focus on improv, and they train people up in improv, and it sharpens your wit. It makes you think on your feet better, which is great for stand up. If you're going to be on stage trying to be a comedian with written material, you need to be able to react when the crowd reacts, good, bad, or indifferent. You need to be able to have something loaded so that you can retaliate or springboard off of. Because if you're just reading your script, which that's what comedy is, if it's flat, it stays flat because you're not making it engaging. So anyway, so we moved up to
finding
Chicago.
it very interesting how much it is just like wrestling.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you have to change it up based on the live audiences. Really.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if WWE or one of the bigger programs hasn't sent wrestlers to Second City.
They don't. But there is one wrestler who decided to start focusing on that a lot, and that's Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth, and TNA.
I know that
he also
name.
does some stand-up comedy.
Yeah, I think I know that name because of stand-up. I was a real.
He's also appeared on JCW several times.
Oh well, okay, yeah, that would be it too. Yeah. So yeah, went to Chicago to pursue comedy. Comedy had me pursuing booze and ladies. So that got a little too hot and heavy. My focus was totally lost. So decided that probably wasn't the best thing for me. So came back with my tail between my legs. Ended up going back to the same Bible college in Joplin. Got a job back at the same radio station because they always needed people that, like, they had a lot of very wooden DJs. They didn't have very many DJs that could be engaging. And not only did I have a decent voice, but I could also, be a person, a personality on air that people actually like
interacted with.
Yeah,
wanted to listen to.
Yeah.
What a concept.
And so they threw me back in like right away. I had my job
John
right back.
Was back on the air.
Just John, you got it. So I did that for another few years. At the same time, I was also working at a skate park that was also a youth center that also had a stage that we didn't use. And one night, some high school kids were like, "Hey, we have a punk band. Could we maybe on a Friday night use that stage? We there's no place for us to play." We're like, "Okay, yeah." So I organized my first concert that way, just by happenstance. Turned out I was pretty good at it. So we ended up making it a more regular thing. And it got to the point where they built me my own building, my own music venue. We imported a custom soundboard from the UK that was custom built, tailored to the room. Like, it from what it started as to what it became was still mind blowing to me. Um, but so I was working in radio and running a music venue. The music venue was becoming more and more and more and more. So I dropped out of college, um, and focused in on my career.
Round two.
And yeah, yeah. And then because they built new buildings and bought so much uh, super tech equipment, which by the way, I never asked for that soundboard. Uh, we didn't necessarily need it, you know.
Yeah.
Just a
But if they're offering, you're not
right.
going to tell them no.
Well, the problem is our top end got way too heavy. Our expenses got way just we got out of whack. And the board of directors for the center decided that the best course of action was to fire the managers, which I was the music venue manager. Basically without warning, just oh hey man, you're fired. out of the job that I built. It no like
So,
nobody else.
voted,
the program was my program.
They voted you out of your own program.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And in my place, they installed the groundskeeper. True story. His name's
Willie?
Donnie. He's an incredible guy, a huge music guy too. It just turned out that he went to a lot of concerts, came to my concerts, so he knew my program, and he just kind of maintained my program. And he's he and I are actually really good friends. He's a great guy. They screwed him over too. So
Yeah.
Turns out we weren't the problem. They were the problem. So obviously that venue's not there anymore, but yeah, so I worked in the music industry for several years. After that,
So
I
how
ended up
big did the
opening a
venue end
bar.
up getting?
Do
Like,
what?
was there recognizable names that you were getting, or
Yeah. So we were pretty big in the like metal hardcore punk scene. But we were also getting some like singer-songwriter like emo stuff. But like for the hard stuff, we got like Whitechapel, Red Jumpsuit Apparatus was a pretty big one.
I recognize that name?
Yeah, pretty big. Man, I'm trying to think of who else we got.
Well, if you got red
jumpsuit apparatus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
If I could get it right. I'm guaranteeing that Chevelle came through at some point.
Oh yeah. We had Chevelle. Yeah. But we also had some like really cool bands. Like one of my favorite bands is a band called Lucero that your wife probably knows about. That they played like they still play alternative country. So we were having stuff like that too. Like I don't know, it was a super cool venue. We ended up one of my kids that came to my shows did music stuff on his own at his house all by himself, kind of like me, where like he was really kind of on his own. He didn't really have a lot of friends. And he came to an open mic night at my venue one night. First time ever being on stage, played some of his music. It took a member of my team to really like talk him into doing it. And then he ended up being huge, touring internationally. He built his career on MySpace. Like he was like one of those guys that had like 1 million followers or whatever, like just crazy. And I was talking about him the other day. I cannot remember the name of his act. It was one of those like super 2000s emo singer-songwriter names. Emo band Joplin. Let me just look that up. Never Shout Never.
Okay.
So
that didn't take long.
Yeah, well, he's kind of a big deal. So his name's Chris. And like I said, he was so, it was funny to see him be so scared just to play solo. There wasn't even hardly a crowd, you know, it was just open mic night. So there were like 12 people. But he did, first time he ever played on a stage. And then we ended up like hiring him to come back. So dreams do come true, kids. I went from begging him to be on my stage just to play for the first time to I had to pay him to come back.
As long as he sold tickets, it was worth it.
Oh, he did. He was a really big deal back in the day. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Sorry, now
the venue closes.
Uh-huh.
Where does Shovel go from there?
Shovel teamed
Have we
up
became
with,
Shovel yet?
yeah, so yeah, I should have said that. In the early days of working at that skate park, you know, my first big role was I was like the manager of the skate park staff. And we had a skate shop, so I was always around, like, you know. And there was one of our BMX dudes kept talking to a lot of the other BMX dudes and skate dudes, and he would be like, you know, yeah, I was talking to Shovel and he told me da 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 da, or yeah, I heard Shovel did this. And he would just keep saying, shovel this, shovel that, shovel this. And nobody was stopping him. They would just like be like, oh, okay. They were just accepting it. And then one day I'm in the skate shop and his name's Keaton. Shout out Keaton. We ended up living together for a little bit. Super cool guy. And he's talking to somebody in the shop and he drops the same line. Oh, well, Shovel was telling me that, you know, this band is going to come. And somebody finally snapped and they're like, dude, who is Shovel? We have no idea who Shovel is. You keep talking about Shovel. And I'm in the other corner of the shop and Keaton points over and he's like, well, that's Shovel right there, isn't it? And everybody looks at me and I'm realizing I'm looked at. So I look over and they're like, is your name Shovel? And I was like, what? No. What are you talking about? And Keaton walks over then and he's like, your name's not Shovel? And I was like, no, man. Who in the world is named Shovel? He said,
what kind of horrible parent would name their child Shovel?
Right. So then we get to talking and he was like, oh, I guess I just misunderstood your name. And I'm like,
oh, okay.
What do you know of a name that sounds like Shovel? Is there any name that sounds like Shovel? No.
Just John.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought it was funny. And I'm usually the guy that hands out nicknames. But I'd never had one before. So then I'm like, well, you know what? I kind of like it. It's kind of mysterious and kind of broody, like, ooh, Shovel, look out for that guy. So I was like, yeah, you guys should start calling me Shovel, but they never did. Aww. But I just always kind of kept it in the back of my mind of like, yeah, Shovel. So anytime somebody the years following would be like, hey, what should we call you? I would be like, well, you can call me Shovel if you want to. No, what's your name?
Yeah, you're like, dang it. Well, they
so yeah, when Shovel. I broke into the Juggalo world, I was like, okay, well, Juggalos have names.
Yeah.
Wait, I do too.
You mean that Ouija Mag isn't his real name?
Yeah, weird. Yeah. Huh. So yeah, there's a lot of things like that where I feel like a lot of my life has culminated into what I'm doing currently. And Shovel is a good example of that. Like having a persona that was readily available to me and is now the persona that I'm known as. There was a time when I was pretty big in the music industry, and I was known as John at the Bridge because that was my email, john@thebridge.com. And so like my MySpace was John at the Bridge. everything that I did, I was John at the Bridge. And so people would have me
MySpace
in
is
their
coming
phone.
back. Maybe it'll be
Yeah.
Shovel at the Bridge.
Yeah.
Shovel.
Which is funny. I would be in managers and musicians' phones as John at the Bridge. And for me, I would learn their first name, like Joey or whatever, but not necessarily their last name. So I would end up taking their first name and whatever the last word of the band was. So like the lead singer of Inked in Blood is Joey Trump, actually related to Donald Trump. Found that out later. That was weird. But because I didn't, that's not how my system was. In my phone, he's Joey Blood. And I just know who that is. Oh, it's Joey from Inked in Blood.
There came a point when I had to go through and update all of my wrestling contacts and put wrestling in front of their name.
See, that's what I like about iPhone is it has the company thing. And so a lot of times I'll insert whatever, interesting aspect of that person there. Like, purple Chevy.
I experienced the spinning rainbow wheel of death enough in college to make me never want an Apple product again.
Oh, brother, I was actually, when I started doing the streaming stuff, I was using a Mac, and transitioned to PC only because all of the free software for streaming is all PC based. And that's not surprising,
No.
Mac isn't made for that.
No, Mac is not open user friendly.
No, not at all. Everything is protected.
No, I remember setting on Final Cut for 8 hours working on my final video project, and now I can do just as much on my smartphone now.
Yeah, that's like I talked before about the digital software that we were using for editing, rendering for 24 hours for a 10-minute clip. The fact that I can do more better production now and this is even an outdated iPhone, this thing is starting to show its age. I can do infinitely better production with that now than I could do with any of the thousands of dollars worth of equipment that we had then. It boggles my mind.
I remember when the flip cameras first came out.
Yeah.
That had the little USB on the side of it.
We had one.
Yeah, I had to have one when I was in college. I was like, this thing will be amazing. I can make so many cool things. I did nothing with that.
Yeah, same as my wife and I. Yeah.
So venue closes. Do we get day job at that point?
So I had kind of already started doing a day job, because I had gotten married at some point while I was working at the venue, and wanted to have kids. My wife was working for a doctor's office, and so she had good insurance. So we were using her insurance, and I working at the music venue. It was a non-for-profit organization, which means they don't pay very well. So like when they brought me on salary, it was the first time I had ever been offered a salary in my life. And I'll never forget when they're like, we're going to pay you $22,500 a year. Like, whoa, 22 grand, man. Yeah, even then that was nothing. And that was zero benefits on top. Like that was not with insurance and everything. That was just off the rip. That's what we're going to pay you. And so I had already had a job on the side working for Sears, selling tools. So then after I lost my job at the music venue, I still had Sears going. But I had, made some relationships, over the years in Joplin, and, a couple of guys that I knew wanted to open a bar, and I used to work in the pizza industry also. Like that was another thing that I did in the background. I've never had one job. I've always had multiple jobs. And I actually love pizza. The art and science of pizza is a amazing thing. And so they wanted
Would
to
you like me
open a
to blow
bar.
your mind real quick here?
Are you a pizza guy too?
Well, obviously I love pizza now, but I didn't try pizza until I was in 8th grade. I refused to eat it.
How okay. I don't
Chicken nuggets and corn dogs was all I ate.
oh,
My brother had a sausage pizza from Domino's, and he said, "Try this piece. If you don't like it, I'll give you $5. If you do like it, you can have all you want of it." I stole his pizza. He had to take that $5 and go get another one.
yeah, I, pizza is like all the best things. And you can really as much as people like say, oh, you can't put pineapple or whatever on a pizza.
Bullshit.
That's the beauty of pizza is you can if there is anything that you enjoy as a dish or whatever, you can make a pizza that replicates that. And it's usually more accessible in terms of like eatability. Um and it's also just fun to try to come up with how to turn pad thai into a pizza. That's a fun exercise.
I am yet to have a pizza with chicken on it that I liked. I love chicken. Love it. Like could eat chicken every day of my life. But I'm yet to have a pizza with it that I like.
All right, that's a weird hill to die on. That's a weird one.
But my go-to is a thin crust pineapple and bacon.
See, I don't enjoy thin crust. I like a good hand tossed. I like when in the cooking process, I like the dough to rise. I like to have a little bit of chew. Um, so yeah, so starting that bar, um, my partners already knew that I knew pizza, and they to get a liquor license, you need to have so much food sales. So
Yeah.
they were like, well, we need a kitchen. There's not very good pizza in Joplin. Do you want to join us? You can run the kitchen. He'll run the bar and I'll run the business. And I was like, yeah, okay. So I did.
And they paid you 23,000 a year.
Yeah, close. So as businesses go, with the three of us were supposed to be equal partners. And the one guy was going to have some investors that were like funding us to get us started, and the other two, one was setting up the bar and running the bar. I was setting up and running the kitchen because that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so that was our sweat equity into the business. And our partner kept saying, "Oh, I need to draft up contracts for us so we're all safe and ownership and all that." And I just I need to meet with the lawyers, blah blah blah. Years that kept spinning, and my wife would be at home with our baby and be like, "You need that contract," and I'd be like, "It's okay. I trust him. I trust him. I trust him," and it never showed up. And working, basically going full time at Sears, driving straight over to, it's still there, the Blackthorn Pizza and Pub, still in Joplin. It's actually owned by another friend of mine now, and she has taken it to new heights. It's very successful. It's a great restaurant. Highly recommend it. Good pizza. But yeah, so I was just burning the candle at both ends. Just
Is
trying
there
to
any other way to burn the candle?
well, not making much money at either end.
No.
Both jobs were paying pretty low. So we were not comfortable. And my wife had quit her job, because, baby.
Yeah.
My wife and I, before we got married, we agreed to some certain terms, one of which was once we had children, one of us would be home. Um, it didn't matter between the two of us who it was, but somebody was going to be a homemaker because we didn't want babysitters and grandparents to raise our kids. We wanted to raise our kids. So we had a pact that way. So, you know, obviously, just starting out, it's my wife could provide a lot more to the baby than I could physiologically. So she quit her job, and I was doing everything I could to try to make it work, and it just wasn't working. So we got an offer to move to Idaho and work at a youth ranch, um, and get paid really really well. Had zero expenses. They would house us, they would feed us, just all kind. It was one of those things where the deal came through, and we're like, "Holy crap! Like we gotta go. This is the best thing ever." So we packed up everything we owned, which fit in a CRV and a pull behind trailer because we were just starting out,
Yeah.
and moved out to Idaho, middle of nowhere, called Rupert, Idaho, for the Idaho Youth Ranch, and we started working with kids out there. And I had a background of working with kids at the music venue was also a youth center, so I talking about mentoring kids. I've been mentoring kids that entire time too, and still that's just part of my like nature.
Yeah.
So so we moved out to Idaho. Um, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm actually a pretty accomplished horseman. I grew up around horses. I can ride a horse really well. I've only been thrown from a horse one time. There have been many attempts.
So what you're saying is you could be a Juggalo cowboy?
Yeah,
Is that what I'm
yeah,
hearing?
yeah. Um, and I also had, farm experience, putting up hay, putting up tobacco, doing all that kind of stuff as a kid. So moving out to the ranch, it wasn't like a foreign land in that regard, but Idaho was. We we stayed out there for a year and a half. We really honestly loved it, loved the work, loved everything except for the fact that we were living in the middle of nowhere. And it was the furthest my wife had ever been from her family. And it was just, and we had another kid out there. So we had a brand new baby. We had a 2-year old. And we had, we had good people around us as staff that were giving us, that were babysitting and giving us opportunities to, not be stuck at the house, but we just weren't having the experience of having grandparents and
It's not family.
yeah, there was just
Yeah.
a big, a distinct separation. So we decided to move back to Kansas City, got a job with the sheriff's department. I
Shovel the cop.
Yeah. But so it was in the juvenile detention center. And in my mind, I was like, oh, yeah, I work with kids, teenagers.
And that's where you met all of the Juggalos that you know now.
No, no, not in urban Kansas City. No, no. I met a lot of gang members, actual gang members, not just mistakenly placed on the gang's member list.
Yeah.
I met real gang members, and it was I worked 5 years there, long 16-hour days, 6 days a week, just making a ton of money.
And
But
I'm sure that was emotionally
yeah,
heavy
you
too.
literally go to work every day. I say this not at all lightly. You exist under threat of death a lot. I say juvenile detention, but you need to keep in mind that juveniles, once they turn 18, yes, they do get moved over to the adult side, but somebody that's, 16, 17, turning 18, they are pretty well fully grown at that point in their body, but not their brain.
Yeah.
They're still dumb. So they are prone, as teenagers are, to outbursts, a lot of times violently. And in the juvenile system in the state of Kansas, we weren't allowed to have any mechanical like hindrances to fighting, and basically we could only use our hands. That's all we were allowed to use. We didn't have duty belts, we didn't have OC spray, we didn't have batons, we didn't have any of that stuff. So I was a professional wrestler for 5 years. And the wrestling I was doing was for my life, or the
I had a
life of
friend
my friends.
that worked at a prison out here for a little bit, and me and him had a long talk one night, and I said, "Dude, if you're that worried about it, quit."
Oh, I did.
Yeah, like that's finally what I just tell us, because I was like, there are plenty of other jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peace of mind is a very valuable thing.
It's not only do you have the threat of death, but you clock in, you get nothing but hate, just pure hate. People are shouting things at you. People are whispering things to you. People are mean mugging you. You're the bad guy, and there's no way to change their mind. You're just the bad guy. And the sad truth is, it's not just the detainees that are the problem. I'm not dumb, I know that in the justice system there are a lot of very abusive, obnoxious, unfit officers that are only in the role because of negative intention. And it happens everywhere, but it's not everybody. I want to make that clear. Not everybody wearing a badge or a uniform is a horrible person. Some are. It's a small percentage. What happens is people like me that come in with the greatest intentions, that only seek justice, and I just wanted to make things fair. That was my goal, was fairness. If I was going to come down hard on this guy for something, I was going to come down the same equal hardness on the next guy that did it, or the guy that was doing the same thing at the same time. I wasn't picking favorites. I don't care if we have a relationship or not. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be fair in everything I did. And I was, and I got a great reputation because of it. Also, I got the nickname Superman because anytime there was a code, I would come flying in, and I was basically Goldberg. I would come flying in, and people would be off their feet before they knew what was happening, and I would be spearing them to the ground. So yeah. But I say that I still was not intentionally going in to like hurt somebody.
Well, yeah.
I wasn't blindsiding people. I would give as much as the situation needed. And I never wanted to, I towed the line of, what is and is not abuse. And that's hard. That's really hard because emotions come into play. And the longer you're in that role, the harder it is to find that line. And after 5 years,
you're in the role, the more that they know what gets to you.
Right. So after 5 years, I was becoming the thing that I went in to not be, to actually be against. And I was becoming the thing that was the perception that everyone had of me. And I didn't want to be that thing. I didn't want to be racist. I didn't want to be hateful. I didn't want to be abusive. I didn't want to be mean. And I would come home and I would just be filled with just anger and just thinking the wrong way about people as I would interact with them in public after working at the jail. I'd be at the grocery store and be like, ugh, ugh, you know, and not, I wasn't giving people the benefit of the doubt. Um, and so I could tell that my heart was eroding. So I knew I had to leave. So then I got a job with a trucking company because that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody ever gets angry on the road. That'll be great for you.
Well, I wasn't driving truck.
Okay.
I was working in the office.
Okay.
So I was doing logistics. So I was working with, we did intermodal shipping, you know, the container ships.
Yeah.
So the containers come in to the coast. They ride the train into the United States from the two different coasts. What's in the center of the map?
Kansas.
Kansas City. Everything comes to Kansas City. So the you know for the most efficient expense of things, they would come into the ports, they would get on the trains, and the trains would basically bring everything to Kansas City, and then it would get, you know, dispersed from there via trucks. So the freight in Kansas City is crazy. There is so much freight. So my job with the company was scheduling deliveries, dealing with customers like international customers, freight forwarders, billing stuff, all like the administrative stuff, which I'm kind of, that is another thing in my wheelhouse. I'm good at organizing stuff like that. But that was really just, it wasn't the job I wanted. It was the job I needed in the moment just to get away from the monster I was becoming.
Sometimes you realize things are making you the person you don't want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a reason that I quit drinking.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so that's actually funny you bring that up. That's a big thing in the trucking industry. And I'm not saying that truck drivers are drunks. The people that work in the office are, though. Horrible. The amount of money trucking companies spend on booze for their office staff is alarming. And it's such a normalized thing. Also, deceit is a very normalized thing in the trucking industry, just flat out lying to people. That's just
the irony here is that one of my best friends just found out that her husband, who's a trucker, was sleeping with someone from the office. So, you know.
Yeah. It's like it's such a weird industry, and I think it's because it's inherently so deceptive that, you know, professionally you're lying and deceiving and you know, just trying to do everything you can to cover up your failures, that bleeds into your life. So a lot of people that are in the trucking like business, don't trust them. They're generally not great people. And I was the opposite. I was just telling the truth. Somebody would call and say, "Hey, where's my truck?" I'd be like, "Oh, well, he's actually running late because he came in late, but he's on his way. He'll be there in 30 minutes." Whereas another person would say, "Oh, well, actually, your shipment is overweight and he had to get a special permit." Like, come up with this story where it's like, well, now what if he asked for the permit? Like, what are we doing? You know, just like crazy things.
The more you lie, the more you have to figure out.
Right. Oops, so I was just like, well, let's cut through all that. And I actually ended up making that company a lot of money. I built some really big clients based on truth, weirdly enough.
Oh,
Um, but it wasn't. I actually ended up leaving that because it wasn't fulfilling. Like I was making a lot of money for the owner. I wasn't making myself a lot of money. I wasn't like commission based. So it was nice. It was nice to work in the private sector and kind of get back some of my shovelness of being a good guy.
yeah.
Um, but it's still, I would come home and be like, oh, well, pocket's still empty, you know? And then COVID happened, and somebody that I worked with at the sheriff's department was at that time working for the health department, and they were struggling with some logistics and organization, and he knew that I was gifted in that. So he was like, "Oh, well, I've got a guy." So they paid me an insane amount of money to come organize them. Um, and it we did good. We did really good. My county was actually really good at getting the vaccine out. We our program was so much better and just light years ahead of so many other health departments. Even the state would come to us and be like, "How do you do this?" And we would have to train them on how to basically run medical services like a restaurant instead of a
God
hospital.
forbid something be efficient, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I coming from the restaurant industry, I'm thinking, well, why are we wasting so much time? We need to turn our tables. Let's, get them in, get them their service, and get them out of here. And they were trying to be like, oh, well, while you're here, maybe should we check that you're up on your other vaccines? Do you need like all these other services? And I'm like, no, we don't have time for that. We got to vaccinate thousands of people. We're a major city. We got to move.
I
Um,
went I went to a pharmacy and was in and out in 5 minutes.
right. Yeah.
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 And our job was great. They were like, we'll give you a full paid day off to go.
Well, because you needed it, because you felt like crap after that vaccine.
We didn't feel that bad. We did the Johnson and Johnson.
I did too. I'm
Isn't
probably not at
that was the
liberty to
one shot,
talk
right?
about that. I still work for the health department, so yeah,
Yeah.
I have opinions.
Yeah, lots of them.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So anyway, I got brought over to the health department. I'm still currently working at the health department. Hate my job at the health department. I never want to work in government again. I do not like seeing how poorly things are managed. Because again, my mind thinks very efficiently, thinks very practically. I'm thinking about if this was my pizza restaurant, would I continue doing these things? Does this work well? Are we turning our tables? And a lot of times with government, no, they're
What about turning the tables with government?
at all.
No.
Shoot, some of them don't even have tables.
Well, it's too expensive to sit at that table.
Well, yeah. Well, the problem is they didn't they meant to get a table, but they ordered an ottoman. What the heck are you supposed to do with that?
They got it. They told you they were coming for a table, and they got an airplane from Qatar.
Right? Yeah. It's the government. Ignorance is bliss, man. I would much rather go back to not knowing how stupid Big Brother is, because my God, the government is dumb. In a pinch, they can take care of us, but day to day, when government employees are left to do their own thinking,
there's the problem is when we start letting these people do their own thinking because they can get extra days and extra money.
Well, yeah, and they've got nothing going on. 9 times out of 10, the government is spent prepping for something, a potential outcome, and not necessarily living in the today and dealing with the problem right now.
Yeah. So when did you when did you start doing the streams? Because you started painting, I'm guessing, during COVID. Was that
So during COVID, I started painting fantasy miniatures like D&D
okay? That
stuff.
tracks.
Yeah. And I had never done that before. I can't remember exactly why that started, but I have a daughter that's very much into D&D, and it may have had something to do with that. I don't know, but um, so I had a lot of paint brushes and I had some paints because of that. And years before, my wife had shown me, and I guess I should preface all this with I was aware of Insane Clown Posse. I listened to Insane Clown Posse back in the mid late 90s.
The heyday.
Um, yeah, the good times. Yeah, the Riddle Box, Great Malenko. So and I still own my albums from that time. They're still in my CD books. Um, so I knew them and I liked that music, but I wasn't like I never went down the Juggalo rabbit hole. It was just one of hundreds of CDs that I had.
Yeah,
Primarily I was listening to rock and roll, grunge and stuff like that. But I knew who they were and I knew the look. Um, at some point my wife had shown me a picture of a nativity scene that somebody had painted with Juggalo face paint, and it wasn't painted great, but the idea was there, and I saw that and I was like, wow, that's I like that. Like that, there's that somehow resonates with me. It's funny, it's irreverent, it's just a like lands right in the pocket of that's something I enjoy. That's but but I didn't like see it and go, oh, I'm gonna do that. I just put it back in the back of my storage in my brain of a thing that was
into the
funny.
lexicon.
Yeah. So, Weird Al is in there and, I don't know, the late night Saturday movie show from Ray Adams Toyota in Kansas City was back there somewhere too. Just those.
David Letterman's in there
Yeah,
somewhere.
David Letterman's kicking around in there. Conan O'Brien. So yeah, so all that stuff is just kind of bouncing around back there. And I I started painting those miniatures with my kid. And one day and my wife had started working at a thrift store just kind of on the side, as a and it was kind of it was a thrift store that supports an organization that's a non-for-profit that helps acclimate refugees, because we Kansas City has a lot of KCK. I should say that. I'm in Kansas City, Kansas. We have a lot of refugees from all over the world. When they come to a place like this, they don't necessarily understand the rules, or just the protocols of life. And so they do a good job of teaching English, teaching them, how the grocery store works, because it's different.
Yeah.
We're not third world. Um, so anyway, she worked for a thrift store that supported that, and we must have talked about it in a recent time because it had been years since she showed me the picture. She came home from the thrift store with some just random tchotchkes. None of them were actually precious moments. Um, but or no, that yeah. So we had talked about it. I was like, it'd be funny if because she's from Carthage, Missouri, the home of precious moments, and she hates precious moments because of it. And so at some point, I said, wouldn't it be funny
That
if
explains it so much. I
yeah,
didn't know that.
if somebody did what they did to that nativity scene to precious moments, because it's such a dichotomy of this pure, just such a cutesy, just adorable, holy item, and Juggalo, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I had told her that, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny if somebody did that? And
Sure
But
enough.
it was just like a dinner conversation, just whatever. That'd be funny. So she comes home from the thrift store with a bunch of just figurines. None are precious moments. And she's like, "Well, why don't you try painting these?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay. I'll while I'm watching Netflix, I'll just screw around with one of these." So I painted this guy. That's the first one I ever painted. It's not painted great. If you could see it in person, it's pretty bumpy and lumpy and not it ain't it ain't perfect. But as
It's
I
the
painted
OG.
it, yeah, this literally is. This is number one. Um, as I finished, and I should say I was also in a very dark place at that time. I had been working at the sheriff's office. My best friend had died to suicide. That was a police officer. Just and I was drinking heavily. Like it was just terrible, terrible time in my life. And I felt a lot of oppressive darkness at that time. Um, and after painting this, looking into this stupid little face was the first time I had laughed in a long time. It was so funny to me. And I was laughing out loud and smiling and just feeling like this this makes me feel good again. Like I it's funny and fun, and I had not been funny or fun in a long time. And so I posted a picture of this guy to my personal Facebook page, and some friends, like high school friends or whatever, were like, "Oh, that's cool. Would you paint one of those for me?" I was like, "Okay, I've got a few more." So I painted those, posted those. More people started reacting to them and saying that's funny. I like that. And and I sold the first few to friends of mine, and then I was like, maybe maybe we should give this a go. Maybe I should actually make this a thing. So I called my buddy that does graphic design, and I was like, can you take the Precious Moments logo, take out moments, and then put in a font that looks like something from a jailhouse tattoo that says Juggalos, and just hodgepodge that together for me, and send that my way. And he didn't even ask. He just said, "Yeah, okay, there it is." Shout out Tyler, my buddy Tyler made that. Um, and he sent it to me, and right away I was like, holy crap, that's perfect. That is it. So that landed so well that I was like, okay, this is starting to make sense. This is starting to feel like a real thing. So then I painted a few actual precious moments into Precious Juggalos. Still didn't really know what to do with them. I actually listed them on Facebook Marketplace locally, because I didn't have an online store. I didn't have an
Yeah.
online presence. I had no, I had like Etsy. I knew about Etsy, but I didn't feel like Etsy was it didn't feel right. Um, and somebody found one of my pieces on Marketplace, and they reposted it, and it went viral, like right off the jump. So I went from having, like, I think I had 4 followers on Facebook for a long time. And it was like my mom, my aunt, those couple of people I graduated high school with that bought pieces, you know, it,
Yeah.
it was just, and so, but I was posting regularly. Like I wasn't painting every day, but I was painting every weekend. And, and then it just, once that first piece went viral, and I had already created a Precious Juggalos Facebook page at that point, because I always wanted it separate. Because I don't I didn't want anything to come back on my wife or kids. If
There's a
anybody
reason
got
that I
weird,
don't use my last name.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So yeah, so I was doing that, and I was down here, The house that we bought has a desk that I'm sitting at right now that weighs 1,000 pounds. I don't know how they got it down here, but it is not leaving ever. It is
Well,
so heavy. Oh, you see that spider? You can actually see it on camera. There's so many spiders down here. Yeah, that's one less. I just killed that one.
see,
So
now my wife will cry during this interview.
she understands I have a spider problem. There are a lot of spiders.
You just killed Lucas.
Yeah, right. No, that was Gabriel. So I was sitting at this desk, I was painting, and I had already got some equipment because I wanted to start doing YouTube videos that were actually, it was going to be craft soda reviews. But I didn't want to do anything that was not of a certain standard. So I had sacrificed and bought the most accessible 4K camera that I could. And had bought some lighting, and I actually built a studio in the hayloft of our garage, but you know, it wasn't like it's a barn. It's a barn. So it's not insulated. Like it's super hot in the summer, super cold in the winter. Squirrels are in there.
Probably
And
spiders.
yeah, oh yeah. And there's no sound dampening at all. So it's just if the neighbor's mowing, it's just loud. And so I was like, it's just not working out the same. So I never did anything with that, but I had lighting and I had a camera, and I was sitting here painting, and I was like, you know, what if I threw the camera down here looking at the desk watching me paint? That seems kind of compelling to me. Like I would watch that. So I looked for other channels that were doing stuff like that. And it, you know, there are miniature painters that do that. There are canvas painters that do that. But you know, there wasn't anybody that was like, I mean, doing what I do, it is a little unique anyway, but there wasn't quite anybody doing something in the realm that I was doing. Um, so I was like, okay, I'll try that. So I did. But and you know, from the first stream, I had people watching and engaging, and it was neat to be having conversations with people from Scotland, you know, and just interacting with the chat, like just crazy, the way that was working out. So then I was like, well, you know, I've worked in production. This could be a show. Like if I add another camera that's facing me, um, you know, and get software, get OBS, and you know, put the things together and build scenes and add some lighting, and then it just kept like growing to the point where I have a lot of different lighting and a few different cameras and a lot of automations and you know, just things to make it fun and entertaining and more like a show.
Like an actual diarrhea button.
Yeah, yeah. Not very many people have an actual diarrhea during their TV show.
Yeah, you know, hey, some shows have a laugh track.
Yeah, I got
have
a diarrhea
button.
Yeah.
I always check it.
Oh, it's always spent. Yeah, for people that don't understand, on Twitch, there, if you watch enough, you build up channel points, and you can use those channel points you can redeem them to do different things. And I have mine set up where you can use them to play sounds, like different phrases from movies and little like GIFs and stuff. So animations on the screen. And one of my more expensive ones,
4,000.
You have to save up a lot. You have to come around a lot and save up a lot of points to get the actual diarrhea. But if you watch enough, you can play the actual diarrhea. And there is a full
like 30 seconds of diarrhea explosion.
Yeah, of you can watch a man struggle with a very liquid explosive diarrhea, and the audio is incredible. You can hear it reverberating off the walls of the toilet. It is very moist.
And it's really fun to interrupt Shovel while he's talking about something important with.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So there's sounds that I can play during the show, but there's also sounds the crowd can play too, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
So, what's been your biggest moment from doing Precious Juggalos?
So
That's a
so
heck
the
of a phrase, heck of a sentence. What's your favorite moment from doing Precious Juggalo?
there's been a lot of them. So that first time that I went viral, it was a low level viral. The third time I went viral, it was a big viral. So like I had quickly gained like 2,000 followers, which was weird. It was weird to have so many people that that liked what I did and were reacting to things I was posting, because I post every day, multiple times a day. But I also don't just repost. I post what I make or what I do. I don't
Or
repost very
we get
often.
Shovel or we get Spade updates now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and Jug a Cat of the Day has become a thing too.
Yeah.
That is crazy how many people enjoy that. Um, but yeah, so um when I went crazy viral, and I still didn't really know how to like properly deal with that, because I have learned over time that you have to be prepared for that, because it is something to be managed, to be used properly, to actually it's easy to go viral. It's hard to retain the viewership. And so I've learned how to do that. So you could get 1 million views, and that's all well and good. But if you only end up with 200 people following you after that, then you failed.
Yeah,
Like
you can have a reel that gets 60,000 views and you only end up with 13 new followers out of it.
right, or
Yeah.
13 likes. That says a lot too.
Whew.
If you get a ton of views but no reactions, you might as well count it a zero, because it doesn't really count. If it doesn't make someone move enough to go, boop boop, heart that,
Yeah.
then it it's all for nothing. The
Well,
interactions are important, and that's, I don't have 1 million followers. Will I someday? Maybe. I don't know. That's not really my goal. Honestly, I don't know what my goal is. My goal is to make this my job. And painting these things gets me a certain amount of money. There's only so much I can paint. You know, I've done the numbers. Um, it's it would be hard to sustain myself on just that. So the more different revenue streams I can bring into Precious Juggalos with the social medias that I'm monetized on now, bringing money in that way through Facebook, through YouTube, through Twitch, um, through Instagram, also, like it, every penny counts. Every penny is a penny towards my dream of quitting my job. And if I could focus on this all day, then uh, that will probably lead me to 1 million followers, because I could fully invest myself into this. Right now, it only gets a, I don't know, 25% of my attention because of my job and my family and everything.
yeah, I feel that
Yeah.
entirely.
If I could give this 60%, look what I've done with 25.
Yeah.
I think I could really, at that point, really make it something that is beneficial to myself and my family. And that's not to say that I'm in it for the money either. That's just a happy consequence of all of this.
Well, let's be
I
honest. Time is money.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
So
it's the fact that I have made relationships with Aaron, where now he and I are talking about all kinds of things.
Well,
And
not just even thought. Look at even like Jr.
yeah,
I would have never met him through
right,
any walk of
right.
life if he hadn't been in a Precious Juggalo stream.
And he's one of the greatest guys in the world.
Super nice guy.
Yeah, he will do anything for you. He will give you the shirt off his back, even if it doesn't fit. He'll figure it out. He'll he'll do. He'll have Maya probably restitch it to fit something. They will figure it out. They will make it so that it works for you. And that's the beauty of all of it. Like I've met so many people like your wife that are just, we are random people that are spinning around on this world that, you know, just met by happenstance. But I tell you, it's a genuine love. Like I I care about you, Aaron. I care about your wife, and I know you guys care about me. And so it's not, oh, click on my stuff so I make more money. Like
No,
there's
it's
there's
supporting my friend who does this.
well, and
And
there's thousands of people that I'll never know like I know you, and I have no problem taking their money. But
fair.
what's really valuable to me is the relationships that I have been able to build. Because I can't, Aaron, there's no way I can have a relationship with 50,000 people.
Well, no.
It's not possible. But the fact that I've made really, really good, deep friendships with a couple dozen, that's worth all of this crap.
So I'm obviously huge wrestling fan. One of my favorite wrestlers ever, and we've become friends over the years, is Nigel McGuinness. He had to cut his career short because of injuries and did a documentary about it. Included a picture of my dad in the documentary.
Oh.
When I saw it, I started crying. I didn't know dad was in it. And he was talking about his career and what mattered because at that point, he had never made it to WWE.
Wow.
He had never made it big like he should have. He said what mattered was the people he'd met and the lives that he'd touched. And there's that picture of my dad.
That's yeah. Well, yeah. And that I'm obviously it's not equal, but it's what's happening for me right now. Spade, a kitten that I found on the side of the road, has resonated so much with so many people. I'm not posting pictures of him because he's cute, which he is. I'm posting pictures of him because people are invested. He is the kitten of a large group of people. And at this point, you know, it may seem crazy to say it out loud, but one of those people, Spade, might be what they live for right now. Like that could be the only positive interaction that they're getting, is seeing a picture of a kitten that I found on the side of the road that was dying.
As a person that went through extreme anxiety and depression, that found the way to get through that being if I can get to Monday, I've got wrestling. If I can get to Thursday, I've got wrestling.
Yeah.
I understand that mentality. Like there are people that there's somebody out there that it's like, oh, look, this kitten makes me not want to off myself.
Well, and because of the work that I've done in a couple of different career paths, I do get random messages from what were teenagers then, but are adults now, that still seek wisdom and seek mentorship and just seek kindness from what has become a father figure to them in their life. And which I cherish that every time it happens. And I love my kids because they are my kids. If they see me as their dad, I see them as my kid. And a lot of that has been happening with Precious Juggalos. I get messages from people that I will never meet face to face that have only become acquainted with me because of Facebook, of all things. Say what you want about it, hate it all you want. I have had really important conversations with people that have dealt with
It's where I met
That,
my wife. So
yeah.
yeah,
But like, and I'm an open book. I don't stay quiet about things that I've experienced. Because I've learned what a negative impact that can have on people. So I openly talk about losing my best friend to suicide, losing other people in my life to suicide. I openly talk about the fact that I did struggle with an addiction. That the fact that even I don't live as comfortably as people perceive. You see the lights and cameras and you think, oh, this guy's rich. No, I'm not. I'm still eating ramen noodles. I'm still eating a Taco Bell, not just because I love it, because that's the lunch I can afford. A $5 box is what I can afford.
I did after the bell for you. I thought, well, after the Taco Bell.
After the Taco Bell, yeah.
Yeah, it works.
So yeah, so I've had people that have messaged me seeking like um finances that they need for a reason. And I don't just give money away, but I'm going to ask a few questions if I don't know who you are. But some people that I know, they know that I've had some pretty good sales lately, and they're like, I'm short on a bill or whatever. I need to be able to buy something for my kid. I just need $30 or whatever it is. And I'm like, okay, just so
Yeah,
happens I just sold something. So here you go. And I don't need it back. Don't worry about it. And I, I'm not handing out $20,000. I'm not Mr. Beast.
yeah.
I'm not gonna be. But
Well, in the grand scheme of things, that $30 that you gave to them probably wouldn't have mattered much in your life,
right.
but it's helped them out immensely.
Well, I mean, there are days where it would.
Well, yeah, but in at that time,
Right. In that moment,
yeah.
I'd been blessed in a way where I had $30 that I could basically throw away.
Well,
Um,
that's last year. I got into some trouble for a joke at work and was removed from bonus opportunities for 6 months.
ooh,
My last bonus check, one of my best friends' dads passed away the week that I got it, and he ended up. I ended up sending him half my bonus check to cover the funeral, to cover the burial, because
yeah,
he couldn't do it. Like, no, like, because what's it's a bonus check for me. It's bonus money. My
yeah,
bills are paid. Like, I would have spent it on something wrestling. Hey,
yeah. And um, Precious Juggalos, my wife has been good about letting me treat it as my fun money, quote
yeah,
unquote. Um, and so sometimes I have fun money and I can do fun stuff. Honestly, Precious Juggalos pays for Taco Bell. Without Precious Juggalos, I couldn't even afford Taco Bell. Because
you have three
my
children.
yeah, my full-time job, that money goes to house payment, insurance. I got a kid going to college. I've got two kids in braces. I have a lot of responsibilities, and um, but Precious Juggalos has also been there where I have made a house payment from, which is still, I will brag about that because that's to make a house payment on a side hustle. That's huge. That took a big burden off my family for that moment. That
I
freed up money.
paid rent selling a comic book during
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah,
Like, yeah, it was. I get it. I've actually got a box that a friend of mine is looking through tonight on Facebook to see if there's anything he wants.
yeah,
Yeah, there are things that, well, and for me at this point with a lot of my collection, because I will fixate,
mm,
and then because I'll get little things that I like along the way, but once I've got my main thing, I'm like, okay, what do I do with all the little things now?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I have that same problem. I am a collector and I'm a completist, and so like I'll get into a weird toy line like Kenner Predator from the Predator cartoon that nobody remembers. and the toy line subsequently that nobody remembers. And so I haven't completed it yet, but once I do, I'm just gonna get rid of it. Like, because
Well,
it's fun. The pursuit is what's the fun part. I'll fill my shelf with Kenner Predator for a few months and be like, okay, well, that's cool. I'll take some pictures, move on to the next thing. Um,
I haven't quite gotten there yet. Like
well,
I have a Green Ranger hanging on my computer monitor right now, and I say that quite literally.
yeah,
Yeah, hanging from a Mandalorian necklace. It's because I'm an adult, but I am starting to realize that I don't need all of these things.
well, and I mean, I do. There are certain things that are just not leaving my life, like um my Boba Fett Slave One vintage, pristine. That's not going anywhere. That's hanging on my wall. That is a point of pride. I never had it as a kid. Always wanted it. I've got it. It's complete. Nothing's broken. The visor is clear. The stickers are pristine. It is perfect. That's not going anywhere. But I've got other crap that it's just like, oh yeah, little homies. Those are fun. Let me see if I can get a good little homies collection going, and then when I'm done, I'll be done. There are certain things where I will forever be enamored with, and there's other things where it's just a passing thing. This is just right
Given
now. It's
the
fun.
given the art, did you ever get into comics?
Not really. You would think that Aaron, I'm a the older I get, the more I realize I'm a odd guy. I was I was around comics a lot. I had comic enthusiasts as friends. Just like I had friends that were into skating, and I had friends that were into a lot of very cool things, but I was just by proxy um around it, but not necessarily into it. So I enjoy comics. I respect comics, but I just never was. It never grabbed me. I was I was always I'm way more into music and movies, and I like everybody can say, "Oh, I like movies." No, I like movies. I have a film collection of. I've
There's
never sold a DVD. I have kept everything. I have
do you
DVDs that you have to flip over.
do you like movies or but most people like movies. I like movies and I like films. There's
Yeah.
a difference.
Yeah, there is. I agree.
That's one of my favorite oddball movie
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
I've watched that movie a few times.
Well, when I had Popper sign it, he said, my wife told me nobody had ever watched this. And sure enough, somebody bought
It's such a weird movie.
it. It
But yeah,
is.
so I am a huge fan of film as well. So like to me, film is like so it's just like my art. Like my art is a level of art, and then there's fine art. Like I'm not fine art, and I never could be, and
It's
that's
not your
not me.
style.
That's not me like beating myself up. It's just it is a different realm of art that that exists.
Well,
Same
yeah.
with movies. Like I enjoy movies, but film is fine art to me. So it's just a cut above. It's the best. Um,
I don't expect to ever see Kevin Smith up for Best Director.
no,
You know,
no,
it's,
especially with a movie like Tusk.
hey, I like Tusk.
What's your favorite Kevin Smith movie? Because this will actually tell me everything I need to know.
Clerks 2.
You ready for mine?
What's up?
Chasing Amy.
See, that's I've seen a lot of people love Chasing Amy. It's one of my least favorites.
To me, that one is so real. And I know Kevin Smith is celebrated for writing very real conversational dialogue. And he is very, very good at that. But usually his dialogue is more satirical and sarcastic and fun.
It's dick
And
and fart jokes.
do what?
It's all dick and fart jokes.
Yeah, yeah. And Chasing Amy is like, that's from the heart, man. That movie makes me cry, honestly.
And my second favorite's Dogma. So
I mean, yeah, and I'm not saying Clerks 2 or Dogma are bad. They're not. It's just that tells me, if that's the Kevin Smith that you identify with, that's
that's my
not
Kevin Smith.
like, I love that. But Chasing Amy just, it resonates with me. And then otherwise, Mallrats. Mallrats is number 2.
Chocolate covered pretzel.
Yeah, man. And that's mainly because of it's more sentimental. Mallrats is. I think I saw that one in the theater.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that a lot for Clerks 2 for me is because I saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
I had the box set of the DVD, and like my grandma threw it away, and we had a big fight about it because she legitimately thought that it was a fast food restaurant box because it was made to look like a movie's Happy Meal. Yeah. Oh, I lost my shit.
So who's your favorite director?
Probably Tarantino.
Okay.
I'm a toss up. Give me anything that Tarantino or Kevin Smith does, and I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Anything that Christopher Nolan does, I'm gonna go watch it in theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so
pretty much.
Those three are definitely, top shelf for me. But and again, this is something that changes, is mood based sometimes. Right now, if you ask me my favorite director, it's Neil Blomkamp, the South African director.
He lost me a lot in the last couple of weeks. You know why?
Yeah.
Filmmakers using AI is the wrong answer.
So, but here's
his style, I'm not
here's
surprised.
The sticky wicket of it, really. And I'm not excusing AI usage at all. The sticky wicket is AI has existed for years.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, I was using AI when I was rendering in 1997. It's true.
Yeah.
A computer program was frame by frame creating what I wanted.
I don't agree with generative AI.
Okay.
There's my issue. There's where I feel like we're getting into films that do that with, Val Kilmer is going to be in a movie.
Yeah, see, I have a lot of issues with that too.
But his family signed off.
They did, because they got a paycheck. Would Val Kilmer have signed off on that?
He had already signed up to be in it.
Yeah, I
agree. I don't like it. I'm not surprised that that's where we're going. I do like Neil Blomkamp's movies. District 9.
Yeah.
Was a blast. Didn't he also do Elysium? Ain't that his too?
Yep. Yeah. That was his first big studio money movie. It didn't go over quite as well because there was a little bit of odd choices by some of the actors.
I feel like Jodie Foster was a bad decision.
Yeah. And I think most directors make the same mistakes where when they work independently, Kevin Smith included, their films are a direct representation of their heart or their mind and soul. And then when they get that big check from the studio and the studio starts going, okay, but we need you to use Matt Damon and Jodie Foster because they're hot tickets right now. Or actually, not even hot tickets, but contractually, we need to use Jodie Foster, and we feel like this would be the best mechanism for that. So we insist that you use her. And I'm not saying that's what happened, but probably
Feels
something.
like that's probably what happened.
Yeah, probably something in that realm did happen. And that happens
no issues
a lot.
with Matt Damon. Give me Matt Damon all day, though.
Matt Damon did great in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What about Uwe Boll?
Who?
Uwe Boll?
Uwe Boll.
House of the Dead.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, man. That guy.
Yeah.
Blood Rain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit. He did another one that I actually liked. Alone in the Dark? Yeah.
Alone in the Dark. Yeah, I watched that like 2 weeks ago, I think.
That's the one with Tara Reid, right? Tara Reid and Christian Slater, Reid? I think.
I actually got Tara Reid's autograph. I was at a convention that it was the first one Precious Juggalos had ever sold at, and Tara Reid was there.
You mentioned working in conventions, and we hadn't talked about that.
Oh, yeah. So that's kind of a weird thing. Kansas City is home to one of the biggest independently owned and operated conventions, nerd conventions. Like most others of its size have been bought out by, conglomerates that, Fan Expo is probably the big dog.
Expo and GalaxyCon.
Yeah. And they, it on paper, it all makes sense. Whatever, I hate it, but whatever. That's how the free market works. So, but anyway, Kansas City.
That's how you end up with celebrities charging $200 to sign their name.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But you end up with celebrities that you wouldn't get otherwise. And it's because they have the buying power of, well, we do 8 shows and we can get you, $500,000 or whatever over those 8 shows. And any celebrity will be like, oh yeah, I like money.
See, I struggle when we get to that level of greed, though.
Oh, yeah, me too. I hate it too. But that's the convention that I work for. It's called Planet Comic-Con. It's 27 years old, something like that, or 30. I don't remember. It's been going a long time. And it's pretty plucky. A lot of volunteer backing. I came aboard years back, and again, it's because of my life experience in production. They were starting a new team, and looking for volunteers for like the audio visual production for the main stage. I was like, shoot, yeah, I can run a soundboard, I can, light board, all that stuff, whatever. Yeah, let's do that. That sounds fun. Because I was trying, my wife was already volunteering. She worked in the green room because she used to, do that type of work for me at my venue. So it made sense. And I wanted something that I could do too, but I don't necessarily enjoy the crowds of conventions. And it's not that I can't handle crowds. Convention crowds are a different breed of gross in a lot of ways. And
you get to that Saturday afternoon and they've not had a shower since Thursday.
And they're just oblivious and they just stop. Mm-hmm. They stop walking and just just dumb things, just stupid things. And whatever. So I didn't want to work anywhere near that. Crowd control, line management. I didn't want to do any of that.
See, I worked the floor in conventions for like 3 years. I loved it.
No,
I was the one that was talking to the fire marshal, like, come on, man, you don't want to shut us down.
Yeah. No.
Let me get you and your kids some tickets for tomorrow. You don't want to shut us down.
come experience. You'll get it. You'll get a better idea.
What's that? Oh, you want an autograph from Edge? Let me go get that.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So I started volunteering with that team, and then I ended up becoming the stage manager for the main stage, which meant that I was dealing with the celebrities, prepping them for our stage and in the way that our stage functions, like just so they would know the lay of the land and also like the schedule, and just make sure if they had any questions, I would be the stopgap to answer any questions. That's cool. I have talked to a whole load of celebrities, and I can tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly of that.
Samesies.
Yeah. So, and that's been very, very cool. That I've had that opportunity. We've since expanded into 2 conventions now. So we still have Planet Comic-Con, but we also have Planet Anime. So we have 2 shows a year. One is obviously all about anime, and the other is a more standard, nerd convention. And but I wasn't able to do Planet Anime this year because of the gathering. They're actually on the same weekend, and so a couple months back, I told them that I wouldn't be able to do it, and it kind of went radio silent for a while. And I have a team under me, and they were starting to come to me like, "Hey, I haven't really heard anything. What's going on?" And so I had to reach out and get the big brass involved, and I'm like, "Hey, I know I said I wasn't going to be there for this convention, and you're supposed to be putting somebody in place to cover, and I know I said that I would try to help you get organized as much as I can, and the on the front end, but I haven't heard anything. What's going on?" And they're like, "Oh, we contracted all of those positions. You're all fired." We're like, "Huh? Oh,
Well,
just like
so
that."
much for Planet Comic-Con, huh?
Just like that. Real cool. Yeah. Oh, but you're in a leadership position. We'll find someplace else for you. Okay. Do I want to work for you anymore? So I might be done with that. I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
I was told that I would have to cover my own travel and hotel and everything to a city that was an hour and a half away to work for them for 3 days. I was like, "Nah, I'm good."
Well, and that's the crazy thing. In the last, like when I first started volunteering with them, they were very the purse strings were very tight, and they were not like they would give like some free passes for my family or whatever, but that was it. And that doesn't cost them anything. And then it started becoming, okay, we'll cover a hotel room for you for the weekend. Okay, I mean, I live here, but whatever. That just puts me right across the street. That's better. I don't have to drive. Yeah, I'll do that. And then they started like catering meals for me and my team, and that was cool too. Like they just kept giving us more and more and more, and we weren't asking for it. We're like, we're doing this for love of the game. Like, well, yeah, we're not going to say no. So we're starting to get more and more comfortable. Like, oh my God, they really appreciate us. To now it's like, oh no, we did our jobs too good.
It is very similar to how they did us. My brother ran the green room, handled all the food. I handled the floor. There was a half dozen of us that we worked really hard.
Yeah.
And now none of us are there. And every time that somebody posts about the convention, about how disorganized it was, I'm like, sucks to be you.
Yeah. Like I said, I haven't made my decision yet as to whether or not I'm coming back.
Well, last time I went to their convention, they had Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes. And I was like, I got to go. I have to go meet them. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Mewes is one of the coolest dudes ever. He's such a nice guy.
One of my friends was there, and she was like, "Will you tell Jason Mewes that I want to sleep with him?" Okay, sure. So I did. And he was like, "Where's she at? What does she look like?" Why didn't she come over here?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I don't very I'm very professional in the role. So I used to work as a chauffeur, a high-end chauffeur. So I've dealt with a lot of celebrities in my life, but I have learned that you don't they're not your friends, and you do not treat them as such. You are staff. So you answer questions when asked, and otherwise you're just available. And that's how you're to be professional around celebrities. Um, so
I didn't give him that option.
oh, see, I if I caught anybody that worked on my team that was being too familiar with
Mhm.
celebrities, they were gone.
Now,
Um,
during the show or after the show?
Either way, it's
After the
over.
show, we were always drinking together.
Oh well,
We were
okay. So
we were the Bird Brothers were the party.
well, I should also so keep in mind the market, the market that I'm in. So the show is in downtown Kansas City, and we're contracted with the best hotel in the city, and it our show is a top dollar show. Like there's so much money
Well,
in the
and
show.
there's
So the
there's a
owner, the owner of the show and his um contingency tend to be the schmoozers. Guys like me, if I run into them, because I stay in the same hotel as them, if I run into them in the lobby, I'm not going to be like, don't look at me. I'll engage. And sometimes it has led to, have a seat, but I don't initiate. Well, sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. I may have bent my own rules a little bit a couple of times. Dermot Mulrooney, I may or may not have told him that he's the only other man that my wife wants to sleep with. Um, that was awkward, and I regret saying it. Um, and then the only other one, and this one I couldn't not. William Shatner. I I'm a huge William Shatner fan. I know he has a reputation, um, and all that. Everybody knows, but I know obviously, I know him from Star Trek, but I got to know William Shatner in a completely different way through music. So we all know about his um oh my god,
what is
what's the name of the song? The Rocket Man. He did his rendition of
be a
Rocket Man
raw
way
kid,
back in the day.
man?
So everybody knows about that. But did you know that years later he did an album with Ben Folds, produced by Ben Folds? It is one of the greatest albums that has ever been made. Musically, obviously, it's incredible because of Ben Folds. Um, and then pretty much every song has uh, just cameos of incredible musicians. And on top of it all, William Shatner is actually an incredible lyricist. He wrote his own music, and he has before. Like he is actually a very gifted man in a lot of different ways. Champion horseman, actually, like champion, multiple time champion horseman,
Pretty
incredible
sure
horse rider.
pretty sure he also owned one in Lexington at one point.
He's a champion breeder also.
Yeah,
He's incredible with horses, but he's also really really talented with lyrics. So check check out his album Has Been. It's such a good album. It really, once you get past the William Shatnerness of it and accept it as music, it is so good. And
see,
so I
the
was
rules for Shatner with us really hurt him with me and
yeah,
my convention.
yeah. Well, because you're not supposed to no talk, no touch.
dude, you couldn't even see him. He had to have armed security walk him in,
Yeah.
and he had a curtain around him. I was like, this is stupid.
So I'm in a secure space with the celebrities. So, and I have direct access because of my role. I literally have to talk to them and they have to talk to me.
Yeah.
Shatner needed to go to the restroom. And all he had with him because of the area that we were in was just his manager. Um, and I knew leading up to everything about the special circumstances with him. So I have learned that anytime a celebrity says anything and their manager is around, it's a good idea to just pop your eyes over on the manager real quick and see
What they say.
what is their face telling you right now. And so when Shatner, said he needed the restroom, well, and I had already been talking to him a bit about the logistics of the show. And a lot of it was going through the manager, whatever. So when he wanted to go to the restroom before hitting the stage, I was like, okay, we have one just down the hallway here. And it was a little bit removed from the stage. And he was on a motorized scooter, which, I can't believe he still moves. Like he has had a lot of accidents on horses, and doing stunts. And he still, is a pretty, he still rides horses. So anyway, he was on his scooter. His manager stayed back. So it's just the two of us going down the hallway together. And I'm trying my hardest to stay quiet. But about halfway down, I said, Mr. Shatner, I've been fighting myself over this, but I really feel like I just have to tell you, your album is one of the greatest albums that's ever been made. And I personally love it so much. And I wish you would work with Ben Folds again. Full stop. He takes his finger off the little accelerator, just stops and slowly turns and looks me in the eye. And he said, really? Has been? And I was like, yeah, I've actually owned it on CD and vinyl. Um, I love it a lot. It's such a good album. You did such a good job. And I really want you to work with Ben Folds again. And he said, that Ben, he is one of the most talented men I've ever met. And he just kind of lingered there, like, I guess taking in the compliment, because I assume nobody ever brings it up. And then he
Well, I'm
said,
sure
well,
it's usually Star Trek related when he
right.
gets.
Yeah, 100%. And so then he was like, I just, I really appreciate you saying that. I was like, well, you're welcome, Mr. Shatner. And then we just keep going to the restroom. And, you know, I, I bought that album because the vinyl, because I wanted to have him sign it. Then I saw how much his signature was, and I was like, that ain't happening. That, daddy
Yeah,
can't do that. Daddy's got to buy
we
braces.
haven't sold enough Precious Juggalos for him
Right.
to.
Right. And one of the perks of my position, I would also get a free autograph, but it was kind of like a tier system. Um, so everybody would submit their list of who they wanted, and it would filter its way down, and you would hopefully get somebody towards the top of your list. And William Shatner had no free autographs. He was not even an option. So yeah, so the record just stayed on the shelf. Which I'm fine with. I'm fine with owning it on vinyl. So it really is a great album. Highly recommend it. You will be surprised.
So before we wrap up, as we're this has gone way longer than I expected, but that's not a complaint. This has been fun. um, who has been your most surprising order?
My most surprising order?
Mm-hmm.
um There've been a couple. There've been a couple. Um,
Not
so
to dox anybody here.
right,
It's like a hidden juggalo.
there have been a couple of celebrities um that I'm not going to name that
You've secretly sent like 6 to Drake, haven't you?
um there have been some very surprising celebrities, but that's not the most surprising one. The most surprising one is, and again, I'm not going to dox him because you know, just the way things are. There, I've talked about him in my live streams. There is a wonderful man in Arizona that had placed several orders with me over time, and he found my email address and he emailed me, and just so totally unsolicited, just a man that had ordered some things from me sent me an email and introduced himself and let me know that he was an art curator, that he had operated some art shows and art studios, and that he just really enjoyed my work. And so right off the jump, I'm just like, man, that's weird. Like this guy's like in the industry. like, and so he and I ended up emailing each other back and forth several times, and it blossomed into an incredible relationship where he ended up coaching me up on how to be a professional artist. He's the reason why I sign and date all my pieces. Previously, I hadn't, and that was part of why he emailed me. He emailed me because he had gotten pieces that were not signed. He was like, "Is there any way I can send these back to you and you can sign them and send them back?" And I'm like, "That is a weird request. Why?" And so he explained why, and and then just in other ways explained like how to better function as a professional artist, how to present myself as a professional artist, and to really give you perspective on why that it was such a big deal. This is a man that has an IMDb. He has made several or he has been part of the production of several documentaries about artists and musicians, and has always been a champion of um, the outlier, always been a champion of the art that doesn't get the credit that it should. And he started in New York, um, and started with a lot of street art, um, around a very special time in New York when bands like you know um, the Beastie Boys and Run DMC and like that whole scene was blowing up. So was graffiti art, and he was the guy that was getting those artists shows. He was the guy that was turning them not away from the street, but he was the one that was like legitimizing them as artists, and they weren't just graffitiists. He made street art something that has become what it is now, that is people now pay big dollars for people to paint on their walls and stuff. But he also this is what blows my mind. One of his dearest friends, and this is after a lot of conversations with the man, incredible man with an incredible life experience. One of his best friends, David Bowie. He has David Bowie art on his walls. His David Bowie and Iman would come to his house and sit at table with him and eat dinner. They would come to Arizona to be with this man for no other reason And that is the man that is curating me as an artist. That blows my mind. So shout out to him. That changed my whole like perspective of this. Before it, and I still call it a stupid little thing because it is. It's a goofy, weird thing.
It's a stupid little thing that you love, though.
Yeah,
that's the important thing.
But it's to a lot of people, it is very important to them what I am creating, and it is revered by some people. And that art curator taught me that is something that I need to consider. That I, through what I create, through happenstance and just whimsy, has significance to someone else, and it brings them joy, or it brings them it provokes thought, it provokes emotion. Yeah. And that's the point of art. I'm not just goofballing around.
Maybe you need to have him email that old teacher of yours.
That would blow her mind, man.
That would be the answer right there.
That would blow her mind. Yeah.
Let him email like, so I hear that you were a teacher for a young John Shovel.
Yeah.
And I think you might have some of his early pieces.
Yeah.
I hear you have an alien bowl of his.
Yeah. Somewhere. You have some chunks of dried clay wedged into the corners of your space. Yeah. So yeah, that is a good question, but probably not the answer you expected.
Well, no, but that's the fun of asking it.
Yeah.
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 Well, I appreciate this. It's been fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll upload it next week. And I'm half tempted to chop it into 2, but I don't want to take the time to edit it.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been 3 hours.
Hey, but it's because we never get a chance to actually shoot the shit face to face.
Yeah.
It's always just messages or on a live stream.
Well, and I've definitely said a lot of things in this stream that I haven't told stories of elsewhere. So,
well, and that's, I think, like I was telling Frank when I interviewed him, part of the reason that I like doing these is because I like the casual just catching up, but I also feel it's important to have that legacy, like your story down.
Yeah.
So, because I think that it would be great to be able to listen to my dad shoot the shit with somebody and him talk about my braces or something like that.
I do think about that a lot, that I'm leaving a digital footprint that my kids can easily find. And wholeheartedly dive into at some point, which is wild.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, if you're not leaving a legacy, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
But
wasting your time.
Shovel, I hope you've had a good time. I've enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed every minute. Yeah.
If you've enjoyed this, feel free to check out our sponsors, my sponsor at Stover's Liquidation. You can find them online 24/7 at www.stoversliquidation.com or in person at 481 Tulsa Road in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. You can call them at 865-523-4449. Tell them that Till 5 sent you. They'll give you all the best deals on your liquidation and wholesale home improvement needs. See, that's where I'm at. I knocked my cup over like 30 minutes ago, so I have no drink at this point. So I'm going to go downstairs, fill up my drink, and see if the wife's awake and play some 2K.
And I'm going to go to bed.
What's the Faygo flavor?
I drink grape.
Grape. Okay.
Yeah.
See, we didn't have the Faygo.
Yeah.
But, it's here. See you, Shovel.
It was a pleasure, Aaron.
Double D, Big Steel Man. And the card is subject to change. Watch it.
Welcome back to the show!
Welcome back to the show!
Greetings, Earthlings! I'm your friendly neighborhood Juggalo, JR Butcher, and welcome back to the weird side of the internet. It's Sunday. You know what that means. That's right.
Oh, hey. Shovel. Precious Juggalos. Hey, I paint things, and I have merchandise. I have all kinds of stuff. Like this. Oh, and did I mention that I also do this?